Kia ora, I'm Sam Realstone here with my thoughts on the prequel to one of Disney's classics, Mufasa the Lion King. Directed by Oscar winner Barry Jenkins, the story follows the orphan Mufasa, voiced by Aaron Pierre, who is befriended by young Prince Taka, voiced by Calvin Harrison Jr., and adopted by Taka's family. The adoptive brothers are forced to journey across the savannah to protect themselves from a pride of vicious white lions. Now, this is not a unique statement by any means, but the original Lion King film was a major part of my childhood, and following the lackluster 2019 photorealistic, I refuse to call it live action, remake, I wasn't stoked about the idea of a prequel. Unfortunately, the pacing is jarring and erratic, the colours flat and don't hold a candle to the charm of the original animation. Plus, the story is told via Rafiki telling it to Simba's daughter Kiara, which really added nothing for me. In regards to performances, Aaron Pierre as Mufasa is actually quite good. He has the needed deepness to his voice and has shades of the cadence of James Earl Jones while not doing a direct impression. It's a believable younger version of Mufasa, which sounds like an obvious requirement, but an important one. Calvin Harrison Jr. as Taka wasn't amazing for me. His performance changes halfway through to be closer to original voice actor Jeremy Irons. Narratively, it works, but it really shows the shortcomings in his voice up until that point. Mads Mikkelsen gives a good performance as the villainous Kyros. Obviously, it's Mads Mikkelsen, so he's perfectly menacing and brings a gravitas to the sinister nature of the character. A surprise standout for me was actually Rafiki, who was performed amazingly by both John Carney and Kahiso Ladiha as a younger version, the latter of which really encapsulates the original voice and isms of Robert Guillaume. And I felt the film actually added a little something to the relationship between Mufasa and Rafiki. But a lot of the dialogue is clunky and could benefit from a little more show, don't tell. I was also so confused at a heated conversation when Mufasa arrives at the new pride. Taka's dad feels threatened and says, "Do you know Mufasa means king," etc. Do you know what Taka means? It literally means garbage in Swahili. You named your son Garbage and you want to talk about what's in a name? Unfortunately, the songs are forgettable and it's very hard to hear the words at times, but the ones you can hear are basic, not very imaginative, and the cast's singing voice really lacked the guts of the original. I thought Kyros' song was particularly patronising and juvenile. It's a surprise given it's Lin-Manuel Miranda who wrote the songs too. Overall, it's a fine experience. I wouldn't necessarily rush to see it. The majority of the story is dull and boring, and it feels like we're just padding time before we get to the final act, which is compelling and interesting because it gets more into Mufasa and Taka/Scar's relationship as it stands in the original film, which is because the original film is more interesting, so watch that instead.